to the two Uber comrades on Patreon supporting this channel. My partner, thank you, Rosen, Independent Left News. Definitely check out Independent Left News. So, pretty interesting article here from the Daily Post. I'll link down below. Biden could share vaccine data with the world. He's probably not going to. New report suggests the U.S. may have unfettered rights to the information countries desperately need to scale up COVID-19 vaccine production. The Biden admin may possess unilateral rights to the biochemical makeup and manufacturing process of the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine. A new report from advocacy group Public Citizen asserts in a 2020 contract with the Moderna, a division of the Department of Health and Human Services agreed to bankroll much of the vaccine development and manufacturing process, partially in exchange for access to all documentation and data generated under this contract. That documentation and data likely include the vaccine recipe and manufacturing process, the report finds. Dismantling that data would allow countries with fewer or less effective vaccines available to begin the process of manufacturing the Moderna jab, an important step in getting the worldwide pandemic under control, especially as the EU continues to resist Biden's push for temporary intellectual property waiver for COVID-19 vaccines. Wealthy vaccine manufacturing companies like Germany, France, and U.S. have pledged to fully vaccinate their own pops while also sharing doses with the developing world, but it's not clear a sufficient number of doses currently exists for them to make good on that promise. The EU, for example, is on track to fall short of its goal of donating 200 million doses to non-member states by the end of the year, and as August, COVAX, the WHO's vaccine sharing initiative, had distributed 188 million vaccines worldwide, just 19% of the 1.1 billion the WHO says are needed to end the pandemic. So obviously there's a lot more vaccines that need to be getting to people, in these less, wealthy countries. The more people remain unvaccinated worldwide, the likelier it is that new variants will emerge, endangering vaccinated and unvaccinated alike. The Biden admin strategy for expanding worldwide vaccine access has largely relied on pushing for vaccine patent waivers through negotiations at the WTO. Fucking WTO, that's trash. But those negotiations have been stymied by strong opposition from member states of the EU, meaning that unilateral American action may be necessary to expand vaccine access on the necessary scale. Legally, the U.S. may already have the ability to do so. The terms between Moderna and the federal government specify that the government possesses rights to the vaccine technology developed under the contract, meaning that it can unilaterally publish or share the data with anyone. Furthermore, an essential component of the Moderna vaccine was invented and patented by U.S. government researchers, meaning the government could threaten a patent infringement suit against Moderna if the company refuses to share its vaccine know-how. So are any of these actually steps that Biden and his administration would be willing to take? I would obviously hope so. I mean, it's pretty freaking egregious that the Moderna vaccine was basically built and developed with taxpayer funding and government researchers, as it says there, and yet Moderna has been able to reap huge financial benefits and awards, while the cost of developing it, that came through us, the taxpayer dollars. But so obviously, I think this is another area. The pharmaceutical industry should be nationalized, should be placed under government control, because there should obviously not be a profit motive in developing vaccines, developing medication, just like the healthcare field overall should not be a profit motive, a profit incentive there. Like, that's just disgusting, right? So will Biden actually try to force Moderna's hand in this, to able to get this information, to share this data with these countries that could develop, their own vaccines? Not holding my breath, hopefully. We'll see. Moderna did not invent the vaccine by itself, saying Rivzi, a law and policy researcher at Public Citizen and author of the report. This private corp learned how to scale up and scale out manufacturing on the taxpayer's dime. Public dollars should come with public obligations. I agree, but it frankly usually doesn't. It's usually, well, here's your contract, here's a bunch of money, here you can enrich yourself with this taxpayer funding. Don't worry about helping out the people, help the people out in the back end, you know. As long as the people at the very top are getting their piece, the CEO, the board of directors at Moderna, that's all that really matters. Moderna's stock price has increased from $130 in March to $395 today, thanks in large part to my and your money going towards them. Government right to vaccines. Know how countries such as South Korea have expressed eagerness for the intellectual property that would allow them to make vaccines and are confident that the manufacturing sectors will be able to exploit it, but efforts to secure it have been rebuffed by the American government, Korean officials say. So there you go. Doesn't seem like the Biden administration is really wanting to push Moderna to share this information with countries such as South Korea. We have asked Washington to transfer technology for vaccine production, but U.S. officials said it's something that should be decided by the private sector. Oh, fuck. Decided by the private sector. Okay, so that means the Biden administration is going to do fuck all, and they're leaving it up to the goodness of Moderna or these other for-profit pharmaceutical companies to do the right thing, which of course we know they're not going to do. So, Jesus, I mean, again, I shouldn't have been expecting anything less from the Biden administration, frankly, but it's still really disappointing to see when leaving it up to the private sector will mean that a lot of people, you know, in these poorer countries, in these exploited countries from, you know, imperialism, etc., are going to end up you know, not getting enough vaccines simply because the capitalism and the private sector are greedy as fuck, and it doesn't, you know, benefit their bottom line to share this information. That's really disgusting. And again, that's why the profit motive needs to get out of pharmaceuticals, needs to get out of developing medications, needs to get out of healthcare overall. It's fucking disgusting. Question at the heat of the report, Rizzi said, is whether all the data essential to vaccine manufacturing is covered by the government's contract. Part of the process may have been developed before the contract went into effect, or may be outside the contract's purview. The federal government will have only limited rights to the data and will need to compensate Moderna for its use. Jesus Christ, but judging from its public available, it seems likely the government possesses significant rights to the vaccine data. Moderna was not a large pharmaceutical company before before becoming a major vaccine supplier. In 2019, it produced fewer than 100,000 doses across all of its products. So basically, as a result of this U.S. funding, this U.S. contract, they've been able to really kind of increase their, you know, market share and wealth pretty exponentially, frankly. Contract between Moderna and the U.S. Gov included federal support for increasing mRNA vaccine manufacture and expanding it to more locations, meaning that the technology for how to do things may be part of the data to which U.S. government possesses unlimited rights. So I'm not gonna keep reading this, but pretty interesting. I'll link it down below. So again, doesn't really seem like the Biden administration is actually doing what should be done in this case. So, you know, this Moderna vaccine and the information on how to make it would be shared with the countries that really need it, and there's still a lot of countries outside the West that still need, you know, a lot of vaccines, and this being able to share this information would obviously help, but the Biden administration seems pretty dead set, no pun intended, but dead set. This will obviously lead to death, leaving it up to the private sector, the good graces of the private sector, to share this information. We know they're going to do fuck all, because that doesn't serve their, bottom line, doesn't increase their profits to share this information. And so shame on the fucking Biden administration for not not doing what they should. Not surprising, but still really, really disgusting, right? Like the video if you like the damn video. Subscribe for more content. Peace. Much love, all part of the people.